Essar Oil should pull up that one also for you and show you what that one is doing. 2.5% higher in trade. They have completed the expansion plan that they announced earlier as well. To talk about what happens to the business here on, Naresh Nair, MD and CEO of Essar Oil, joins us right now. Mr. Nair, good to have you. Thanks so much for joining in. You have completed expansion of the Vadinar refinery to I think 18 million tons. Now, how much capex have you done on it till now? If you can share some numbers, and how much capex would be needed to take the capacity much higher from these levels?
You see, the total investment in the Vadinar complex so far is about $5 billion. For the expansion project, we have invested about $1.7 billion. In terms of the capex, we are probably among one of the lowest capex per complexity barrel. I mean, typically the capex required for creating one barrel of per complexity is about $2,500, and we could able to complete this at about $1,000 per complexity barrel.
Right. So now that the capacities are touching almost 18 million tons, the reflection of increased capacity, what is it that you're hoping to see in the first quarter of FY13 onwards?
See, there will be two major factors which will come to play after the refinery has been expanded and the complexity has been increased. First of all, the Vadinar refinery will be able to process much heavier crude diet. Today, in its crude diet, only 20% is ultra-heavy category. That percentage will go up to 60% now. On the other hand, the refinery will be able to convert most of its heavy end into more valuable middle and light distillates. Now, both these factors will have a major positive impact in its earning. As per the research reports which we have looked into, typically a complex refinery of this kind of complexity earn about $8 to $9 above IEA Singapore margins. We believe that since we are having a similar complexity, we should be able to achieve that kind of GRMs going forward. As regards the revenues are concerned, since the capacity is going up from 14 million ton to 20 million ton, that translates to almost about 35% increase in the top line.
So, Mr. Nair, MRPL says that they are mulling sourcing crude from other countries than Iran due to the geopolitical issues there currently. What is your strategy on sourcing?
See, in any case, because we now need a different kind of crude diet, what was required for our base refinery. And so our dependence is now increasing more on a crude coming from Latin American countries, and dependence of crude from Iran is going down.
Mr. Nair, but how does your complexity of refinery change post-expansion? And in this light, will you be able to process rough crude as well?
No, you see, the percentage share of the ultra-heavy crude will go up significantly. From 20% today, it will be now 60% going forward. Well, of course, the overall percentage depends upon the economics, depends upon the heavy and light differentials and so many other factors. But generally, that will be the ballpark number.
What's the update, Mr. Nair, on the FCCB conversion? Because the Essar Energy shareholders, I believe, had raised some concerns on converting debt to equity. Any resolution expected soon?
You see, post the Supreme Court judgment about the sale tax issue of the Essar Oil, we have taken a number of measures to strengthen the balance sheet of Essar Oil. One of the measures was that $260 million, which was infused by the parent company Essar Energy, and last year as FCCB should be looked into and considered for converting into equity. Instead of converting into equity, we have already taken a decision and implemented that FCCB, which were earlier optionally convertible, should be made compulsory convertible. Now that will immediately help Essar Oil to classify this and increase its equity. The second measure is to raise fresh equity in Essar Oil. and that will be taken at the appropriate time depending upon the valuation and the market conditions.
Mr. Nair, what is the status of your CDR? What conversions have you had with your lenders, conversations rather, and by when is some decision expected?
Well, we have almost reached to a final conclusion. I mean, all the agreements and the terms has been agreed with the lenders, but where just final approvals are awaited. So we'll make an announcement at the appropriate time.
Mr. Nair, just an update on a smaller piece of your business. What's the update on the Raniganj and the Rajmahal CBM blocks? The reason I'm asking this is because we understand that you've already conducted test production. The question is, by when are you expecting peak production in these two blocks?
No, Raniganj block where we are currently doing the developmental work, I mean, we have already drilled about 73 wells there, and we were going to drill more wells after we receive the further environment clearances. Our intention is to drill another 250 wells within the next 1 year, and then we'll start producing the large quantity of gas to take the peak production to 3.5 million standard cubic meters. The Rajmahal is a block which is still in a very early stages, and we are there is no major development. It will take about 3 to 4 years before we can start any developmental there.
Okay, Mr. Nair, so good to have you on the show. Appreciate you taking the time out. That's Essar Oil in focus on their capacity expansion plans.